Hello and welcome to our 10th session, and in this session we are going to model a shampoo bottle. Actually, a marketing agency wants us to make an animated film of a shampoo bottle where we now need a 3D model of this shampoo bottle. In the description, I have provided you with a link to download the resources for this file, and when you download it, actually I have downloaded this file and you have a file called as shampoo_bottle.zip. You just right click on this and you just extract all the files inside this, and when you extract and open it, you now actually have two files here. One is shampoo bottle reference.jpg. If I double click it, so this is the reference file, and another one is the shampoo texture.png. Okay, so using this we are now going to create our shampoo bottle. So to begin with, I will come into Blender and I am going to just select this cube, then press X and I am going to delete it. Now I will press numpad 1 and come into the front view, and in the front view now I am going to come into my Explorer and I am now going to select my shampoo bottle reference file, drag it over here. And if I come over here, you can see this image has been placed. I can just select this image, press G and I can move it. So I will place it exactly over here. So approximately I will place it exactly on this grid line, and I am going to call this as reference image. Press 7 and come into the top view, and I will select this GY and slightly move it to the back like this. Then I will press 1 again, and here I will come in the filter and enable this select mode, and I am going to click on this and disable it so that I am not going to select it and move it. I will press Shift A, and now I am going to add a plane. And if I press 7 and come in the front view, you can see the plane has been added. Now only thing is I will press tab and come into the edit mode, and then I will press yes, and along the x-axis I will just scale it to the width of my image here. So I will just move it. I will press shift and move it so that it is approximately to the width of my image. If I will press numpad 1, come into the front view, I will zoom it here, press yes X, and I am going to just scale it so that it fits the image size. If I come into the top view, this is the top profile of the shampoo bottle, and in this top profile of the shampoo bottle, first of all, it is not so much wide. So I will press scale Y and I will scale it down a little. This is the thickness of the shampoo bottle, and this shampoo bottle is curved and it is not straight. So what I will now do is, I am now going to press scale Y and I will scale it down to half of the width of my shampoo bottle. So I will just scale it down to half of the width. Then I will come over here and I will enable grid snapping, and then press G, Y, and as I move it, I will press Control so that it snaps to the grid. So I will press G, Z and move it, and as I move this, see, as I am moving it, so I will just snap it to the grid. So now the first thing is, to create the curve, I need more geometry here. So to create this geometry, I will press Ctrl R and add these loop cuts. I will add approximately around 5 loop cuts like this, and I will click and I will right click and stop it. Now I will press A to select everything, then press GX and I will just move it and align this third vertex exactly to the center so that, see, it is aligned. I will press Ctrl and align it so it is exactly aligned to the center. I am now going to select all the vertices at the bottom. This I am not going to change anything, so I will just press H and I will hide it. And now in this case, I am just going to select any vertex here, and I will come into proportional editing. I will enable this proportional editing, and in this I am going to select sphere, and then I will press G, Y, and if I move it, see, I will set the actual width here so that I have a slight curvature like this. So I will set the influence area like this, and I am going to make it slightly curved like this, and I will leave this. Now I have got this curvature. Then I will press Alt H to unhide everything. So now I got this curvature over here. Then I will select this entire block. I will disable proportional editing, press GY, I will move it down. And now I have got this structure. And now I will press A to select everything. And I will come into the mesh, and you have one option here called as Symmetrize. So when I click on Symmetrize, now what happens is, so now if you open this Symmetrize, you have different options. I am going to symmetrize it from plus Y to minus Y. So now what you can see, whatever you have on the top, it is coming into the bottom. So I got this. I will press S, Y and slightly scale it and make it slightly big like this. So now I got my profile ready. Then in this profile, I want this to be slightly wider than this side. So for this, I will select this area, and again I will enable proportional editing, and I will press scale, and along the Y I will slightly scale it so that this is slightly wider than the other area. So I have created this profile now. Then I will come into the face selection mode, press A to select everything, press 1 and come into the front view. And in the front view now, I will press E and pull it up like this. So I will get this entire profile till here like this. I will come into wireframe mode, and now only thing is, this profile should match the profile of my body here. To do this, again I will press Ctrl R, and I am going to add some control. See, I will right click, I am not going to move it, and when I apply this loop cut, I am going to divide it to around 10 subdivisions. Press A to select everything. I will disable proportional editing. I will press yes, and along the x-axis I will scale it down a little like this. Enable this reference image. I will press tab, come into object mode, select the reference image, and I will slightly move the reference image along the x-axis so that the reference image matches my image, so that it is exactly at the center. See, now the reference image is matching my image. So I have set this to this size. I will lock the reference image. I will select my plane, press tab, come into the vertex selection mode, and I will select only the vertices on the right hand side. If I click and see, I have only the vertices on the right hand side now. Now I will press 1 and come into the front view. Then I will press Control, and I am going to press I to deselect everything except these vertices. Then I am going to press H to hide it. So I will hide this entire section. Then after this, I am now going to readjust this vertex position based on this structure. So now what I will do is, I will select this and I will press G, move it and place it somewhere here. Then I will press G and I will move it here. And actually I will also enable proportional editing, and now I will select smooth, and then I will select this. I'll press GX and I will reduce this influence area like this, and I will slightly move it like this. Okay, then I'm going to select this vertices here, this vertices, then press GX and I will slightly move it to this like this. Then I will select this one and I will press GX and I will move it like this, and I will increase the area so that it matches this profile. Okay, I will adjust it like this. With shift middle press, I will pan it up, and I am now going to select this vertices, press GX, and I am going to now move it, and as I move, I will increase the area so that this profile matches exactly the shape of this bottle. And then finally, I will select this profile and I will press GX, and this time I will reduce this influence area. Now I have got my right hand profile ready, and if I press Alt H and if I unhide everything, And if I come into the solid view and if I see this, if I press tab and if I see it, so now I have this profile approximately ready. So I have got the one side of my profile almost ready. Now the next thing is I will press 1 and I have to make the other profile ready. So for this, again I will come into the wireframe view and I am going to come in, press tab and come into edit mode, and in vertex selection I select all the vertices on the left end. Control I to select everything other than this and press H. So now it is hidden. I am now going to press numpad 1 and now I will select only these vertices. See that the X-ray mode is on so that both the vertices are selected. Then press GX and move this and adjust this profile. So I will move this until here, and if required I will increase the influence area like this, and also I will select this, press G Z, and I will just move it down. I will reduce the influence area and I will move it exactly to, I will zoom in, shift middle mouse, pan it, zoom in. I will press G and Z and I will move it and place it to this point over here. Then I will select this, press G X, and I am going to slightly move it like this. So if required I will increase this influence area like this, see like this. Then say let this be the shape. Then I will press shift middle mouse, move down, and here I am going to select this vertex here. I will press GX, and when I move this I will move it till here. I will also select this, press GX, and I will slightly move it to fit this. Then I will move down and I will select this vertex, press GX, and I am going to slightly move it and match it with this shape. I will select this vertex, press GX, and I am going to move it like this. And when I am moving I will slightly increase the influence area like this. Then I am going to finally select this, press GX, and I am going to move it to this corner, and if required I will slightly reduce this influence area. So now I have got my left profile match. Now I will press Alt H and I will unhide it. I will come into solid state. I will press tab and come into my object mode, and I have got the rough shape of my shampoo bottle ready. Complexity of this shampoo bottle is, what is that? This is not a straight line in the shampoo bottle. This is slightly curved. Press 7 and come into the top view, select this, press tab and come into the edit mode, come into this X-ray mode, and then I will select all the vertices over here, and see all these vertices are selected, and then press X and I will delete it so that I have only one half. I will select all the vertices on this side, and now I will select all the vertices of one side, that is only one side I have selected. Then I am now going to press 3 and come into the side view. Then I will press Ctrl I to select everything other than this, and I am going to press H to hide it. And after I hide it, then I am going to select one vertex over here. Then I will choose the option here, short, and I will select this vertex. Then I will press GY and I will move it like this. So I will just increase this curvature a little like this, so that this is, I will get this curvature like this. I will disable this, press A to select everything, then GY and move it slightly to the right like this. Then press Alt H to unhide everything, and now you can see that I have this profile, that is, this profile is not straight. You have a bent profile here. Now I will press 3, and now I, with A selecting everything, again I will come into mesh, symmetrize, and I will symmetrize plus Y to -y. So when I do this, and if I press tab, so now I have my shampoo bottle shape ready. Hide my reference image, and then I will just right click and choose shade auto smooth. So I will also come into my modifier. I will add the modifier subdivision surface, but in the viewport I will set it to 2, and I have the edges, everything perfectly created. But the only thing is the thickness of this shampoo bottle is very less. So I will press 7, I will press tab, and I will press A to select everything, and yes, Y. I'm slightly going to scale it a little more so that my shampoo bottle has a little more thickness. Now the next thing is I will press 1 and come into the front view, and now I have to create these profiles. So for this I will select my plane and I will press tab, and now I want this profile to be created in this shape. So for this I am just going to come into this vertex selection mode, and I will enable this X-ray mode, and I am going to select all the vertices over here. So I have selected these vertices, and here I will press G twice and I will move it slightly down, and I will align this over here. Then I am going to select this vertex selection, and I will select one of the vertices here completely. I will select this, press GZ, and manually I will place this along this path like this. Then I will select this, press GZ, and I will move it and place it over here. I will select this, press GZ, and I will move it and place it here. Then select this GZ, move it and place it at this point. Select this, press GZ, and move it at this point. Select this, press GZ, and move it at, I will press only G and move it and place it at this point. And if required, I will slightly adjust this profile. So now I have got this profile over here. Now only thing is I now want this to have a kind of a bevel. So I will come into edge selection. I'm going to select this edge now, and with this edge selected, now I will press Ctrl B, and I am going to add a small amount of bevel like this. So I will add a bevel of about 0.02, and then I am going to press E and then press S, and I am going to scale it. I will just scale it inside like this. So I will scale it down by approximately 0.95. And now if I press tab and see it, see you have this kind of structure over here. Only thing is I want this to be actually not so smooth. I want this to be sharp. So I will press tab, I will press Ctrl R, I will add a loop here, and I will just pull it down like this to make it sharp. I will press Ctrl R, and I will add a loop here. I will pull it like this, and I will make this edges sharp. And now if I press tab, so you have this sharp edge moving all around. Now the next thing is there is one more actual groove over the top. So I will press tab again. I will move over here. I will press Ctrl R, and I will add a division here like this. Then press Ctrl B, and I am going to again create here a small cut of around 0.02, and then again selecting this, I will press E. I will right click and cancel it, then press yes, and I will scale it down by around 0.95. And even in this case, if I press tab, you can see I will just switch off this reference image. I want to make this sharp. So I will press tab, press Ctrl R, and I will add one loop to the top till here to make it sharp. I will press Ctrl R, and I will add one more, and I will make this sharp. So now I have got this structure ready. I will now have to make this entire top portion separate because this is the cap. So for that, I will switch off reference image. Now I will select this, press tab, and now I will come into face selection mode. See that this toggle switch is on, X-ray toggle. Now press C and select all the faces on the top like this. So I will select all the faces here like this. So I select these faces, complete set of faces like this. I will right click and cancel it and look around once. And here some of the faces on the bottom end, I will temporarily off this to see the faces. So I doesn't want this face. So with face selection, I will press shift and deselect these faces. So I doesn't want this to be selected. And similarly, I will then also deselect this face and this face. So now I have only the selection of the top, and with this area selected now, I am now going to temporarily switch off this subdivision here so that I can see this selection clearly. And with this, now I am going to press P and I am going to click on separate selection. P is going to separate the selected part from my mesh. So when I click on P, now I will press tab and come into the edit mode. And now you have plane 001. I will call this as shampoo cap, and I am going to call this as shampoo. Now if I switch off shampoo cap, I have this structure. If I enable this reference image, you can see a small structure moving inside like this. So for this structure, what I am going to do is come into edit mode, and I am going to select all the faces on the top. With face selection, I select these faces here. I will press 1, and now I will press E and slightly move it like this, and I will scale it down and reduce the scale like this. Now again I will press E and I am going to pull this up. I will press Z and move it to the top like this in this axis till here. But now I want this entire thing to be flattened. I am now going to come into the vertex selection mode. I will select all the vertices, press 1. I am going to press scale Z0. So now this became a straight line, and I will press enter. So now I have scaled it down. I will press yes and I will slightly scale it down like this. And after this, now here I will come into this edge selection. I select the inner edge that is present here, and I am now going to press F. Then I will press I, and I am now going to scale it down a little like this. And then I will right click, and in loop tools I am going to choose circle, and I will enable the radius here, and I am going to make this radius small like this. Then I will press 1 and come into the front view. Now I will press E and I will slightly pull it up to create this inner structure. Now I will press tab, and now I have this structure added. Now again I will add shade auto smooth. Now if I enable shampoo cover, the shampoo cover is there, and inside you have this structure. So now our model is almost ready. Now if I press 1 and come into front view, and if I come into the wireframe mode, in these edges I will come into the shaded view, and you can see these edges are not sharp. So what I will do is I will press tab, and in the edge selection mode I will select this edge, and with shift selected this edge, and I am now going to press Ctrl B, and I am going to just bevel it a little like this, then add some segments. So I will add some segments here and make it round. And now if I press tab and come out, and if you see this structure, you have this curved structure over here. Now similarly, now I will press tab, I will press alt and select this entire loop on the side. So I will select this entire loop. See, I will select this entire loop. So even here I will select this entire loop. Similarly here, alt click and select this entire loop. Then alt click and select this, alt click and select this, then alt click and alt shift click. I have to add it to the selection. So I have selected this entire segment, press Ctrl B, and I am going to slightly bevel it like this. So I will add a slight amount of bevel like this, and press tab so that the edges are now smooth. I have to add some material. So for this, I will now switch off the reference image, and for the top cap, I will select the top cap. I will come into the material. I will create a new material and I am going to call this as blue cap. And here I am now going to select, I will click here and I am going to select a dark blue color like this. I will come into the texture view, and only thing is here I want this to be transparent. So I am going to reduce the transparency of this. See, like this. So when I reduce the transparency, you can see I will set the alpha to about 0.7, and you can now see that the inside of shampoo is available. Top cap ready. Then I will select the body. I will create a new material and I am going to call this material as shampoo body. And for this, I am going to add a white color like this. I am just going to reduce its roughness a little so that it is slightly shiny like this, and I will slightly add metallic value of around 0.2. So now I have the shampoo bottle material added. I want to add a label, and I will switch on the reference image, and if I come into the wireframe mode, I have to add this label. Switch off the reference image, and now I will switch off this toggle X-ray, then press C, and I am going to select all the faces here like this. I will select this entire section, and then I will press Shift D, and I am going to duplicate it and right click. So I have created a copy of this, and then press P and separate the selection. Now I will press tab and come over here and name this as label. And after I add the label, so now I want a slight amount of thickness to add to it. I will come into this modifier, and in the add modifier, I will add a modifier called as solidify. And in solidify, I leave it at default 0.01, and I am going to then come in the front view, press, and I will press Shift Y so that it scales only along the X and Z axis. I will just scale it down like this, press GZ and move it to the top like this. So I have the structure. See that this structure sits over the bottle like this. See, you have this structure like this, and I am going to call this, I have named it as label already. I will now come into the material, and in the material now I am going to duplicate the material shampoo body, and I am going to call this as label. And in this label, I am going to click on the base color, and I am going to choose image texture. I will click open, and in the file that you have just now downloaded, shampoo texture.png, select this and click on open image, and now come into the texture view. So when you come into the texture view, with this label selected, I will come in UV editing, and I will press A here to select all the parts. I will come over here, press 1 and come into the front view, and then I will press U, and I am going to choose the option project from view. So now you have this tab available. So I will come to the top here, middle mouse click and drag it, and I am going to enable the texture view, and now I will scale it slowly like this, and I am going to make this entire texture fit into this window like this. So I will fit it like this. Approximately this should sit exactly like this. So I will also come over here, select these vertices now, and if required I will press G and move it here, and I will slightly adjust these points exactly to that of my image like this. I will just adjust it to my image like this. So I will adjust it, and also I will select this so that it fits this image like this. So we are going to discuss about this later in detail, but just I am giving you a tip about what is this UV editing. So if required, I will zoom it and see that these points are selected and moved and adjusted exactly within my label like this. So there is some gap here, so I will just cover it up. So this one I will press G and move it slightly to left. I will move the top and see that all these points sits inside my image like this. And once I adjust this, now if I come into the layout and if you see this, now you can see your label is applied here. Now only thing is, when I have applied the label, you are seeing some black spots over here, and that is because if I come into UV editing, here I have some issue in this point. I will just select it, press GZ and slightly move it down to avoid those black spots. So now if I come into the layout window, see now you don't have it. So similarly here also there is some one black spot. I will just come into UV editing again here, and I will just select this points, press G, X and slightly move it in like this, and also select this point and slightly press G and move it in like this. And now if I come into the layout, you can now see, and here I have an issue. So I will come into UV editing, and here also I will select this, press GX and I will move it in like this. And now if I check it, so now this is appearing fine. So now I have my label applied to my shampoo bottle. So now I will go to file, choose save as, and in your folder name this as 3_10 shampoo_bottle and then click save. So I have saved the file. Now I will just press 0 and come into my camera view, and you can see here this is not fully appearing. I will press N and I will come into the view, and I will enable camera to view option here. Now I will zoom it with shift middle mouse click. I am going to adjust this position like this, and then I will press 1 and come into this view, or I will press 7 and come into the top view. I will select this light and I will just drag it and place it over my camera view. And then if I press 0 now, and if I come into this render window, you can see the rendering. I will actually come into the outputs render setting here, and instead of EV I will set cycles. I will also come into this render setting, and I will also set this maximum samples in render. It is set to 4096. I will reduce it to 256 and then come to render image to just render it. So you can see here the 250 samples are getting rendered here. See this, and once this sample rendering is over, then go to image, choose file save as, and in your folder save this as shampoo and click on save. So we have finally made this shampoo bottle ready. So I will put this, I will then press 1 and come into the front view. I will come here, file save, and with this we have successfully created a shampoo bottle model in this session, and we are slowly picking up with our modeling skills. And in our next session, let us create a more complex object, which is an headphone.